You and I, we were meant to be. I feel it in my soul, feel it in my soul. Never separated, you and me. Broken made whole, broken made whole. The world that tries to steal our hope tries to make us numb, but our love has overcome. And you, my dear, you are my prize. When I look into your eyes, love overflow, I'm never letting go. All my life I give to you, love breaks through, I'm never letting go. Never ceasing, our love grows ever increasing, I won't let you go. Hearts of fire through and through, follow me, I'll follow you, we will pursue everything together, do tests and trials, love renew. Yeah, we've made it, we've always been proven true. We've always been proven true. Still the world that tries to steal our hope tries to make us numb, but our love has overcome. And you, my dear, you are my prize. When I look into your eyes, love overflow, I'm never letting go. All my life I give to you, love breaks through, I'm never letting go. Never ceasing, our love grows ever increasing, never letting go. All my life I give to you, love breaks through, I'm never letting go. Never ceasing, our love grows ever increasing, I won't let you go. We were made for each other. You and I, we were meant to be. I feel it in my soul, feel it in my soul. Never separated, you and me. Broken made whole, broken made whole. The world that tries to steal our hope tries to make us numb, but our love has overcome. And you, my dear, you are my prize. When I look into your eyes, love overflow, I'm never letting go.
everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from around the world. Welcome to the Reawakened Love 2021. It is our pleasure to have you on board. I see all the comments. I see the dancing emojis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Seun Akinlotan, and I'll be your moderator and host for today. So I would like to give a shout out before we get started. I would like to give a shout out to everyone that has been commenting. Can you believe people have been commenting as far back as 1 week ago? So I know that you are expectant, and I reassure you that by God's grace, our guests are ready to pour into you. Welcome, Buki Adegorusi. I hope I pronounced that right. I want to give everyone a shout out right now. So please leave your name and your location in the comment box. I want to know where everyone is watching from. And we're going to get started in a bit. Welcome, Buki. Welcome, Rebecca. Welcome, Ibiyemi, Kilani, Dorothy, Yomba. Thank you, everyone. I want to know where you are watching from. So go ahead and put your name and your location in the comment box. And guess what? There's another thing you need to do right now. You also need to share this link. The link to this event, you need to share with people so that they can join and also be a part of the Reawakened Love. We are here to reignite the passion to transform our relationships and ultimately our lives. As you know, I am a business and life coach. And one thing I do believe in is the fact that if the home front is not settled, there's no way you will be productive in your career or even in your business. So we need to make sure that our relationships with our spouses are intact. If you are not yet married, we need to make sure that by the time we're ready to choose our lifelong partner, our spouses, we want to make sure that we're choosing the right person, someone that is godly, someone that is after God's heart, that would help you to fulfill your purpose. So we are looking for destiny partners, we're looking for purpose partners, and that's why we're here to learn today. Crasher Townsend is checking in from Christiansburg, Virginia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shoboye Jotolulokwe, shout out. Oluwatoyin Omiyale from Nigeria, Oyo State. Thank you, everyone. It is such a delight to have you here. Before we get started, just because you tuned in early, if you're a couple and you're watching us right now, we have a gift for you. But for you to be able to win that gift, you know what you need to do? You need to take a selfie with your spouse. So grab your cell phone, take a selfie with your spouse, take a picture, and then post that picture using the hashtag the Reawakened Love. And guess what you're going to win? You're going to win this pair of sweatshirts from Get 3113. So we're going to display that on the screen, what you're winning. You courtesy Get 3113 sweatshirts for husband and wife. If you're a couple, or maybe if you're about to get married, just take your cell phone, do that selfie. Our guests are excluded, but you can also feel free to take a selfie. Take a selfie with your spouse, put that picture on social media, and we're going to announce the winner later. Now, the moment, the golden moment, this is what I'm going to tag the golden moment. The golden moment that you've been waiting for is almost here. We're going to get started right after this short video. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. And remember, share, and bring in people so we can have a great time together. All right, play the video. All right.
Just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. And the only one I ever see with a smile so bright. And just yesterday, you came around my way. You changed my whole scenery with your astonishing beauty. You couldn't make a brother sing, no ordinary thing, a supernatural thing. So I love you just the way you are. Girl, you are my African queen. I say you are the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been, yeah. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling. You are my African queen. Say you are the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, yeah. And that is the African beauty. Yeah, I saw this story go. I saw this story go. Ooh. See, out of a million, you stand as one, we are standing one. I look into your eyes, and what I see is paradise. You captivated my soul. Now every day I want you more. I cannot deny this feeling that I'm feeling inside. Hey, no one cannot take your place. It cannot take your space. It is the fact that cannot erase.
Oh, I'm still grooving from that song by Two-Face Idibia. Yes, no one can take your place. You are my African queen. Now, the moment we've been waiting for is here. Our very first guests are Dave and Jasmine Felix. They are a young couple. They've been married for 4 years and they've been together for about 9 years. They met in college. That is amazing. I can't wait to learn from them because this young couple have decided to walk together in love. They are a great example and we want to learn from them. We want to learn how to be youthful, how to be vibrant. You can see that they do a lot of things together. They have a YouTube channel together, tagged Engineered by God. You want to visit that to learn more about them. But right now, I'm going to welcome them and we're going to get started. So let's welcome Dave and Jasmine Felix.
Hey!
Hello, Dave. Hello, Jasmine. You look great, vibrant, and beautiful on this Saturday morning or afternoon right now in Philadelphia. Thank you so much for being a part of the Reawakened Love. It is such an honor to have you on board. We really appreciate you. And we're so thankful to God for your life. You are shining stars. You're doing great things. And we're just so excited to have you on board. So welcome. So how are you doing today?
We are doing great. We're excited to be here, excited to be talking to everyone and be talking to you. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here and be one of the guests. We're excited.
And honestly, we're a little bit nervous, but we know things will be great. So we're ready.
Yes, don't worry. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. It's going to be relaxed. We're going to have fun and we're going to learn. So thank you so much once again. I'm going to get started. Okay. Dave and Jasmine, I know you've been married for 4 years, and I'm sure that you've had some experiences through those 4 years. Being married is challenging, especially when we have two people that are trying to blend together as one. You know, you were raised differently in different homes. You probably have a little bit different perspective in certain areas of your life. And one of the things that couples need to give up in their marriages is independence. Independence, you know, as a young person, maybe you're in college, you could easily pack up your bags and get away for the weekend. But once you get married, you have to consider your spouse. So what is one challenge that you have as a couple or you had as a couple when you first got married? Or maybe you're still experiencing the challenge right now. And what advice would you give to young couples that are still struggling to adjust to this newfound reality?
All right. Well, I think for us, well, you start, babe.
All right. So here's the thing. Oftentimes, the disappointment or the discomfort that comes from that is because of expectations, right? And if you aren't clear about what your expectations are individually and collectively, you're going to have some issues, right? And so, for example, your spouse or, you know, Jazz may have an idea of, when I go out to spend time with my girlfriends or my family, I expect to be out for this amount of time. But if she hasn't communicated that with me, then it's like, where are you, right? Because in my mind, I might have a different set of expectations. So I think the first step in that whole two people becoming one is really setting your expectations and being clear about what you expect the other person to do in this new dynamic that you guys are creating together.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. And honestly, for us, our issue wasn't really, our main issue wasn't really with trying to maintain separate lives, but really because we spend a lot of time together in college, we always wanted to be like right next to each other because we knew we were
I
going to
can
separate eventually. And so when we got married in the beginning, we were still spending so much time together because we're, newlywed kind of season. And then we realized, well, we also have to put some effort into spending time apart and
Right.
maintaining those relationships with our friends and what does that look like. And so especially like when we're working 40 hours a week and then the weekends are so precious, so we're trying to fit in quality time together and then go spend time with other people separately and whatnot. So it just was, like you said, really about making sure we talk to each other. Okay, this Saturday coming up, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Did you have any other plans? No? Okay, well then I'm going to do this and maybe you can go see your friend and do that and all that stuff. But we didn't
Right.
we weren't really like, I guess, party people or people who really wanted to just go and do a bunch of different things. So it kind of worked out a little bit for us in that area.
That's amazing. That's amazing because all I'm hearing right now is communication, just setting those expectations and then checking in with one another. So when we have spouses, one way that we should honor our spouse is to carry them along our plans and, just checking in with them. What are you doing? These are my plans. How does your plan fit into my plan? What can we do separately this weekend? What can we do together at another weekend? So yes, it's all about that communication. And thank you for that. So you seem to do a lot of things together as a couple, which is great. It's actually something that I admire about you guys. And I believe that doing things together helps to build a strong foundation. It helps to build that level of intimacy that we look forward to in spouses. How do you agree to start doing things together? Because it's a lot of work. It might seem easy, or maybe it comes easy for you because you guys started as friends, but we do have a lot of couples that are struggling. They are really struggling with doing things together. What advice would you give to couples who struggle to spend quality time together?
All right, that's good. So I think there's like two different types of couples to consider with this answer. I guess maybe one where maybe one half of the couple is wants to spend more quality time, but the other half doesn't really see it as an issue, and then another set where like they both are struggling to figure out how to come together. And so for the first part with one half wanting to spend more quality time, I think we're going to come back to that key a lot in this session, but communicating, letting that person know, listen, this is an issue for me. I feel like we don't do enough things together, and it's really important to me if we do some more things together. And then let them know what those things are. So I like to go golfing or mini golf. So maybe we can go have a date, do mini golf together, or if you like to go on trips and travel, maybe we can go on a little getaway and spend some alone time together. But I think the key is not assuming that the other person is one bad for not wanting to spend time for each other, and doesn't care, and also assuming that they know how you're feeling, and that they don't want to do things with you. Maybe they just don't know what it looks like. So give them some examples.
Right. And for the couple that it seems like nothing they want to do seems to align, I would say it's important for you. I guess I'll address the men first. It's important for you to understand that these things that your spouse is bringing to you brings them joy. It makes them happy. And it's important that we don't just look at these activities or things that we are trying to do to create intimacy in a selfish light, but in a loving and giving light. And oftentimes, I mean, I know personally there have been times where Jazz may have presented an idea with me, and my initial reaction is, no, that sounds stupid, right? But then when I get into it, I'm like, wow, I really enjoyed myself, and I would have lost out on a moment of intimacy, on a moment of a new experience, because I was too narrow-minded. So I think you really need to be open-minded to doing new things that aren't maybe in your comfort zone, maybe aren't part of your past experience. But this is a new experience. This is two people becoming one. So be open-minded.
Yeah.
Be open-minded. I love that. And I'm one person that sometimes I find it hard to try new things. So I'm taking away that, yes, be open-minded. And sometimes you have a spouse that is a workaholic. Shout out to all workaholics out there. They find it hard to take a break from their work. So I want to know, can you give us examples of what we can do on a weekend with our spouses? Maybe I heard Jasmine talk about mini golf. What other activities could you suggest so that we can spice this thing up?
So, I mean, I'll just list some things that we like to do. We like to go see movies. So maybe instead of the regular movie theater, maybe you go to one of the ones that serve you dinner while you eat, so you can have a whole meal while you're eating. We definitely like small getaways throughout the year, in addition to our our vacation. Normally, when COVID's not happening, so we like to, like, recently we went away. We got an Airbnb, a small cottage, and we just sent our son to his grandparents for a little bit, and we spent, yeah, right. We spent like two days together, and just it was just us, and it was beautiful. We walked around the town, and it was nothing crazy. We just went to another place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but because it was a different environment and it was new for us, a new, city,
Yes.
it felt like an actual real vacation. You know what I mean?
And I will say, obviously, we are in a different world right now with COVID, right? And
Yes.
a lot of things that we naturally like to do have been limited. And so it's important that maybe in the regular things that you do every day, making them a little bit more special. Maybe instead of just having a dinner where you're sitting in front of a TV, have a candlelight dinner. We recently bought a game that it's called Mix It Up or something.
Yeah.
Where it gives a twist to your typical eating and dinner and movie. So there are creative ways that you can take things that are very routine and make them a special moment.
Yes.
It requires
I love one of your pictures whereby I think you were baking together. That's a great idea as well. So you can look up recipes online and just go to the store together, get the items and make them together. It's a moment of intimacy. It's a moment whereby you can put that bond. I really love that picture, and I'm going to do something like that with my husband. Yeah. Thank you for giving me the inspiration. Thank you for that. Now, one of the points of friction among couples is what happens during conflict. Conflict are given in any type of relationship. You don't even need to be a couple to have conflicts. You could have conflict with your mom, you could have conflicts with your dad, your sisters, your friends. Conflicts are a given. But one of the problems is that a lot of people find it difficult to resolve conflict. How have you been resolving your conflicts, if you have any? And what advice would you give to young couples who are struggling with resolving conflicts? We've had couples keeping malice with each other, running into days and even weeks and sometimes months. So what advice would you give to a couple that is struggling with resolving conflicts?
Wow, great question. I would say the first thing is, it's important that you are looking at your spouse through a lens of love. I think in the conflict, in the heat of the moment, it's hard to look at your spouse the same way you did on your wedding day, right? You might not be looking at them that same way, but oftentimes I have to remind myself that I know I married a person who wouldn't intentionally do me harm, who wouldn't intentionally do something to cause me pain. So maybe even in this moment, she doesn't even realize what she's doing is bothering me. So extending her that grace. And the second thing that I've learned to do in conflict is to become eager to forgive. I remember having a conversation with my dad. He's been married to my mom for 30 years now, I believe. And he was telling me he doesn't even get mad. He just skips being mad altogether. And I'm just like, how do you do that?
Right.
And he was telling me that, the arguing and all that stuff never really fixed the issue. At some point, they had to communicate. At some point, they had to forgive. And so I've learned to look to forgive in conflict And obviously, this is not something that's second nature. I think oftentimes, if someone hurts you, your first response is to hurt them back. But it's like a muscle. Like the more you are looking to forgive, the more your capacity to do that grows. So honestly, when Jazz does something to me, I'm just like, I love you and I'm going to forgive you. And I'm not going to look at it as if it's me versus you, but it's us versus this issue. And we're going to figure out a way to get over it.
I love that. Us versus the issue. Absolutely love that. That's a gem right there. Audience, I'm not sure if you're listening, but that's something that I picked. Us versus the issue. So your spouse is not the enemy. It's the issue. Learn to tackle the issue. Jasmine, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe give a little bit of example. For us, we've been trying to figure out, throughout our relationship, how to appropriately communicate with each other through our conflicts. And I think for me, naturally, something I realized is that when I'm in the heat of a moment and I'm having strong emotions, as I like to call it, when I'm having strong emotions, no matter what they are, I do not like to talk about it in the moment. I don't like to talk about it because I'm just too overwhelmed and I don't want to say the wrong thing. And so I will wait, get over it, and then want to come back and talk about it, maybe if I feel like it was a good enough reason to be upset. But one thing I learned with Dave is he likes to know. He wants to know what I'm feeling, when I'm feeling it. And so I had to say, instead of just walking away and ignoring it, I had to say, babe, I'm feeling like a bunch of emotions. I'm not ready to talk right now, but give me like 20 minutes and then we can come back and we can talk about it. And that has been an issue in our relationship because I'm prone to run away basically when I'm upset.
Right.
And so it took time for me to figure that out about myself and about him and then figure out what works best for us.
And understanding how your partner communicates best in conflict is so important. That's what she's saying. Because if I'm upset and she just leaves me alone and just disappears, I'm gonna be like, you see, I'm upset. You're just gonna leave me here, right? Because that's how she kind of wants me to approach her when she's upset, right? To give her that space. So understanding how your partner communicates conflict and speaking that language the best you can.
Wow, that is amazing, Jasmine, because what you two are describing is actually men are usually the one that kind of like withdraws during conflict and the women want to talk about it, but you're saying that it's you that usually wants to, get away a little bit, and then Dave is like, talk to me. This is amazing. This is so cute. Wow, I love it. And you said your parents have been married for 30 years, Dave. Absolutely. I know that you've gotten some good examples from them. They're probably your role models. That is beautiful and that is amazing. I wish them many more years of togetherness and love. And let me say that well, love. All right. I hope everyone is learning. I see some comments rolling in. Us versus the world is my tagline. Absolutely. I love that. Understanding how your partner communicates during conflict. That's from Regina Ocon. All right, great. This is feeling great. So let's talk a little bit about religion. Religion in the 21st century. And how has your religion played a role in the success of your marriage so far? Do you feel it's important for someone to marry someone of similar religion? What advice would you give to intending couples who have divergent religious beliefs? So, I want to hear your view.
Want me to go first?
Yeah, it's harsh.
So we're Christians. We believe in Jesus Christ and the gospel. And so in terms of how it affects our marriage, everything that we do falls under the lordship of Christ, right? And so the way that I am and how I interact with the world, and more importantly, in this conversation with my wife, has to fall under that. And so if she does something that bothers me, how many times have I offended God, right? And he's given me grace and forgiveness and compassion. I too should extend that to my wife at least, right? And so everything that we do is done through that lens. And it's when we are doing that well, it helps our marriage, right? It makes me a more loving husband, makes her a more loving wife, makes us a better parents. And everything that we do, we are living life in the way that God has intended, and we know everything that God does is good.
And so I think that's how it affected us. And I think one thing to note is, in terms of what we believe about this, is when we were started dating, honestly, I wasn't Christian, and Dave was. And there came a
and I wasn't doing the
Go
ahead.
Yeah, he was do a good job if he was dating me. But one thing, it came to a point where it's like, listen, this is what I believe. You don't believe this, and there's no future for us. There's no marriage in the future for us if we don't believe the same thing. Because how is that going to work? And ultimately, I did end up becoming Christian, but we firmly believe in basically that if you guys are going to be married, then you should have the same beliefs and the same religion. Yeah.
Because I want to say one thing, because there's a moment where Christ is speaking, and he essentially says, if in order to be my disciple, you need to, hate your mother, hate your father, hate your brother. And what he's alluding to is that your love and devotion for him should make it seem like everything else in the world is just second place to you. It doesn't even, right. And it really highlights a heart issue if you say that you are following Christ, but you are willing to be united with someone who is in active rebellion against him. Like that doesn't line up. Like, not even to mention like the instructions that Paul writes in his letters, but specifically that, like, your love for him should make everything else seem secondary, but you are in this tight, intimate relationship with someone who has no desire to be with Christ. Like, I think that highlights a greater heart issue that maybe you need to address if that's the situation that you're in. I know that's where I was in when I was younger. I wasn't really living my life to honor God. I was kind of living my life, and I would sprinkle a little Jesus on top of it, but he was the center of my life. Yeah, sorry. I'm rambling. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Going, that's fine. I just love how you said that you were living your life and you just had a little sprinkle of Jesus, whenever it was convenient. So you weren't really into it. And I love what Jasmine said. She said she wasn't a Christian. And can I ask, what religion were you practicing before, Jasmine?
I wasn't practicing any religion. I grew up with people saying, like, in my family saying they believed in God, but they never talked about Jesus. In my family, we never went to church. I didn't even know who Jesus was and his significance. Wow. So it was like, yeah.
Wow, this is so beautiful. And you were so open and you wanted to be with Dave. You're like, I'm following you, Jesus.
No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that.
I can't afford to miss this man. He's a good man.
It wasn't like that.
Yes, it is a good man. And you are a good woman. You are both. Okay, I want to listen to that.
But to note on that, for me, when we had that conversation and he was basically like, listen, I can't be with you if you ain't Christian. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking that in. I'm understanding that. And at the same time, we were still together, but he was taking me to his events that his church was having, other churches were having. I was interacting with more Christians, and I realized it's something different about them than it is about me. So I took the time to learn on my own. I reached out to one of his friends. I was going to her church. I found a church of my own, and I started getting plugged in. And when I started getting plugged in and getting discipled, Dave started doing that too with the same church, and we were growing together, and I ultimately became part of the faith. But it is important on that note, not for you not to just do it because of the other person, but seek it for yourself and make sure it's something that you really want to do if you're in that.
Absolutely. Make sure you know that Jesus, or whatever religion you decide, make sure you have that knowledge and it's your own decision to make. I love this. I love this. Now, to our last question for this session. Knowing what you know today, what advice would you give to intending couples? What should people look out for before saying, yes, I do? I'll let Dave go first. So what should a man look out for in a woman that is about to get married to? And then Jasmine will tell us our own part.
All right, so I think in my experience, the thing I would tell a man is that marriage doesn't fix anything. I think I had this mindset that there were some issues in our relationship, specifically in our spiritual relationships together, that I thought the day after I do all of these barriers and hurdles that we have had to like get over, they're just gonna disappear and we're gonna be able to just do things great. But what I realized is that whatever you want to see thrive in your marriage, you need to be working on it now. And so if you're with someone and you see that that person is not a forgiving person, or that person is not a considerate person, that person is not someone who, thinks of others, whatever those things are, just because you put the ring on it doesn't mean it's gonna poof, fix itself and she's gonna be who you want her to be, or even yourself, you're gonna be who you want to be. And so I think the understanding that whatever you want to see flourish in the future, today is the day to start working on that.
Wow. Whatever you want to see in the future, today is the day to start working on it. Jasmine.
I think for me, some things I found after we got married is really the idea that love is an action word. It's not just, these emotions you have towards this other
The
person.
butterflies.
Right. Because those things, they may lessen a little bit sometimes. Sometimes they may be higher. It's peaks and valleys in that thing. And so you have to wake up every day and actually choose to love this person that you committed to, that you want to do life with this person, that you want to do life with. And so I think for me, I think I experienced times, especially in the beginning of our marriage, where I was like letting all the things that he didn't do right, that I didn't like, kind of all those negative feelings just overwhelm me. And I would be a little bitter, a little harsh. And I had to remember, like, wait, but this guy is amazing. Let me remember all the amazing things about this guy and not let those little things kind of cloud my judgment, and just remember who I married. And so this is not like a personality thing, because I think those are dependent on you and what you like, and it's personal preference, right? But the second thing I want to say, and this is something that I feel like relates to, can a lot of women can relate to, is that your partner is not a mind reader, right? And so when you guys are coming together in marriage, you got to remember that, and make sure that you tell that person what you need, what you want, how you like this, how you like to be loved, or whatever. And then you guys figure out how to make it work within your marriage. And just because you said, hey, I like it when you do this for me, and then they start doing it because you told them to do it, that's a good thing. It's not a negative thing. It doesn't mean it's just because you told them to do it doesn't negate the significance of it. Like, they still decided, okay, she likes that. Let me make sure that I do this for her. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you feel like it doesn't count. I told him to do that, so it doesn't count anymore. No, it does count.
Oh, wow. This is great. This is great. Your partner is not a mind reader, so you need to communicate. I love that.
I'm
And
glad this is recorded.
Look, now a work in progress. Okay.
all right. Yes, live recording. You can cut out this part and play it over. Yes. All right. So Regina says marriage doesn't fix anything. Whatever you want to see flourish in the future, work on it now before marriage. Olayemi Akinlotan says focus on the good aspects of one another. Adebimpe Ifagui says, I just posted exactly the same thing less than a minute ago. So the spirit is one. The spirit is one. Thank you so much, Dave and Jasmine. Don't go anywhere. And if you're right there, if you're watching me, listening to me, we still have men's forum coming up. So if you know any man in your network, you want to invite them, because we have a men's forum coming up and it's going to be explosive. Right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Reawakened Love, and my name is Reawakened Love. I am your moderator for today. Our first session, we had our young couple, Dave and Jasmine, and you just watched 2 ads. One is from House of Posh. So if you're looking for Valentine gifts to give to your spouse, you can always go to House of Posh for unique slides that you can give to your spouse. And guess what? They're going to kiss you, they're going to hug you, they're going to love you more. And then the other ad that you saw is from On Point Success. If you need stunning websites to attract your target audience and to convey your message out there, be sure to reach out to On Point Success. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about my book. Yes, I'm a published author. I've actually written 7 books, 6 of which are ebooks, and 1 is a print book. But right now, I just released my latest ebook. It's titled The Business Launch Simplified. If you're trying to launch your business and you are not that type of complex person, you don't want to read or understand complex business words, this is the book for you. It's currently on pre-order, so you can get it for $7.99, and it's going to go back up to $9.99, which is the original price. It's going to go back up on March 19. Now, let's move on to the next thing. If you have not done the selfie challenge with your spouse, make sure you do it. We're watching social media closely, and we are going to pick a winner. Now, we're going to introduce our next guest. I'm sure you've been waiting to hear from them. They are Mr. and Mrs. TJ Erumzi, all the way from Saudi Arabia. Can you believe that? Saudi Arabia. And they are here. They've been married for 20 years. They're here to share their experience with us. I hope you're taking notes, because I am taking my notes. I want to leave here a changed person. I want to leave here and be able to implement the ideas that I learned in my relationship, in my marriage, so I can become a better person. My marriage can blossom and flourish more. So I want you to pay attention, and also be sure to invite your friends. Let's bring in more people. Let's invite our friends to be a part of this wonderful program. So please join me in welcoming Mr. and Mrs. Erumzi. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, guys.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone from this side of Saudi Arabia.
Thank you for joining us. You look beautiful. I love your matching outfit. You're matching
Thank
it.
you.
Wow. Thank you, sir and Mar. I really want to appreciate you for your sacrifice in being on today's show, and even for accepting our invitation to be a part of this program that is transforming lives. We thank you and we appreciate you, and we wish you continued success in your marriage. We're going to get started because our time is fast spent. Number 1, let's talk about affection. Most women, and I'm sure the women that are on here, they're listening and they will love this. Most women want their husband to, show them affection, look into their eyes. You know how Dave, our first couple, how Dave was just casting that glance on Jasmine? A lot of women love that, but men seem to struggle with this. So, Mr. TJ, why do men struggle with showing affection to their spouses? And what are some of the tips you would like to recommend to improve the situation?
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me start from men don't actually struggle. The issue is that we like to be more keeping to ourselves, to reserve everything we have.
Why will you keep it to yourself?
Not that we struggle. The point becomes, how as a spouse do you make this man release everything that he has?
Okay. What do you mean by that, sir?
Now you have I've known my wife now for over 30 years. We met 1990. So 31 years today. It got to a point in our relationship where we say, no stopping. If I want, you want. If you want, I want. So whatever she wants, I want it. Whatever I want, she wants it. So when you have that, you have no other reason than to release everything you have affectionately into your relationship. But by the time you start becoming, you see, when a man and a wife gets together, there are many things we do. And as soon as marriage starts, most of us don't want to do those things again. But I guarantee you, when the marriage starts, whatever you were doing before, you are now to give 10 times what you were giving before.
Okay.
Because we never get satisfied anymore. The things we pretend over, we never pretend over it anymore.
Not show the real color.
Yes, we don't show the real color. So
Okay.
for that reason, we need to be more affectionate to our spouse, but our spouse in return also need to create that opportunities for us to show our affection. Without that opportunity, there's nothing we can really do.
So what can you give examples of opportunities to show that affection? What is an example of something that your wife would do that would make you to show that affection to her? I want concrete examples, sir.
Concrete example, like when you were going out, you see your spouse, you go for a hug, you go for a kiss. Now, after marriage, you only think about your kids, think about every other thing in the house. You don't ever give that hugging, kissing that he sees. And before you know what's happening, it pulls apart. And little by little, it becomes dead. So all you need to do, that's why I said, as soon as you marry, what you were doing before to make him propose,
relationship.
To make him propose, you need to do it 10 times that. It goes the same for the man. What you were doing before to make a woman like you, to make a woman say she wants to be with you, you need to do 10 times what you were giving before.
But the pressures of life, going to work, raising kids, pressure from family, it can really weigh down on us. So if we are not intentional about these things, we're going to forget. And like you rightly said, we're going to start, it starts very little. You start growing apart, and before you know it, 1 year has passed, 2 years has passed, and by the time the kids leave the house, you realize that you have nothing in common with your spouse, and you can hardly stay in the same space. So marriage is a lot of work. Whatever you were doing before you got married, now you have to do 10 times. Oh my goodness, that's a lot, but we will try. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you much. So the next question, I'm going to direct it to Mrs. Bridget to give her the opportunity to answer this. Some women feel like financial responsibility of running the home falls squarely on the shoulders of the husband. This has led a lot of men to being under considerable pressure. They might not speak it, they might not express themselves, but financial pressure is a real thing. What advice would you give to women who believe they do not have to contribute to the family, maybe for religious reasons, maybe for whatever reasons best known to them? We women sometimes feel like you are marrying, especially in my language, marriage is ikbeyawo. Like once you marry that person, you marry everything. Even if I make $1 million, you, the man, you have to take care of me. How should men handle women who feel this way? And what advice would you give to women who feel they don't have to contribute to the family financially?
Okay. What I will advise the men is, once you have known the person that you married, and since there is no going back, what you do is have a limit, a boundary in your financial situation, and try to make a spreadsheet. Make sure you have your money and save it as a man, and don't allow her to know about it, because two people cannot be the same time spending. One should be spending while the other one should be saving. So if you, as a man, you find out that your wife is the spender, you are the one saving, then you have to go back to your drawing board and half your salary into two for uncircumcised situation. Then you now give the woman her own allowance and settle yourself and make your own self be happy. And my advice to the women that feel that they cannot help, remember, God said anything we want to do, we should do in love. And if you feel that you are making your own money, you want to keep to yourself, you don't want to help the man at home. You also, when the man falls or become vegetable, you will bear from the consequence. We should try as much as possible, not cutting our coat according to our size, but according to our material, because we might have we should cut our coat according to the material.
Cut according to your material, not to your size. So how would the material cover you now? Like,
Yes, it will cover, because I know women, we like to fall under peer pressure. I want to take Gucci bag, I want to do this. And if you are that type that you are spending, the thing is, a day will come when the man cannot produce anything, the fault will be on you. So you should just learn to curb your expense. It was in the old fashion that you go and be borrowing clothes or be spending out of nothing, because nobody will come to your rescue. So my advice is, as a mom, we need to sacrifice, and anything we want to do, we need to do in love. If you want to do something, yes, if you want to do anything in love, money should not be a criteria for being in a marriage, and we should be content. Women should learn to be content with what they have. Even if you don't wear hair of 1 million, that doesn't mean that you are fake. You can go and buy a cheap hair and use it wear with baby oil. It will still look nice. You can buy costume jewelry of a cheaper money, and it's when you tell someone that is a diamond that they will say it's not a diamond. Let us reduce our spending so that we can save more for our future, the future of our children. And again, there's one thing again that most women likely to do. They will say, oh, since you have sent money to your family, you must send that same money to my own family too. Remember that when you drain out all the money to satisfy outsider, it's your children that will suffer it. So let God help us to save more and to help our husband.
amen. Cut your coat according to your material, not according to your size. That one got definitely. Mr. TJ, do you want to weigh in on that? We have some women that feel like 100% financial responsibility rests squarely on the shoulder of the man. You are the one getting married. You are the bridegroom. You're grooming your wife. So what do you think about that, sir?
No, it's true, but if you see, even the Bible says that the man should be the one to fend for his family. So if any woman thinks so, I don't see anything wrong. Okay. But the issue becomes, can he afford it?
Okay.
If
he cannot afford it, what should the woman do?
If he can afford it, yes, no problem. But if he cannot afford it, then you have to look inward again to say, this is what he has. This is what he can afford. Then I should do everything possible to be within that which he can afford. Because by the time you try to go above what he can afford, either one, it might end up getting more by any other means to satisfy your needs, or it might end up the other way, you looking for somebody to satisfy that need. So for that reason, to keep your marriage smooth, to keep your marriage enjoyable, to keep your marriage moving, just make sure you budget under what he has as his financial capability.
Below what he has, so that you can have savings for future days.
Yes, for future. I love you, ma. Savings is very, very important. You women, are you listening? Savings. You live under your means, not within. Under your means, right? Is that correct? Under your means. Also. Okay, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to move on to the next question. In your opinion, should couples have close friends of the opposite gender? So I mean that, should a woman, a married woman, have a close male friend when she's married? And the same goes for the man. I'm going to let Mrs. Bridget go first.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, no, capital no. Because the flesh is weak. We cannot control it. There's nothing like Minister Holy Spirit. It is better to stay away from the opposite sex, because we might say we need help. And the other part, we don't know. And the Bible says the heart of a man is desperately wicked. Most women that are falling victim, not because they desire to fall victim, is because they were in the wrong place with the wrong people at the wrong time. At the end, it will now turn around to say that they were loose or they are this, and because we are a weaker vessel, when we are in pain, we are looking for shoulder to lean on, and anyone that give us listening ears, we will pour out everything. Before we know it, as long as the person is listening, we keep talking and talking, and as long as that one is listening, there is a loophole for the person who says
Loophole.
to manipulate, and you will now be feeling that that opposite sex is better than your husband at home, and before you know it, let me take you out for a coffee too, and at the same time, to me, it might look barbaric, but abstinence is the best thing. There's no formula about it. It's not old-fashioned, but flee from all
every appearance
of pain. So having a friend that is opposite, even having your in-law, a grown-up man, living with you, that your husband is not around on site, is even delicate. Talk less of you going outside to have a friend that is a male. I don't advise that for a Christian woman.
Thank you so much, ma. Mr. TJ, let's hear your view.
Okay, I'll add to what my wife says. To me, it all depends. I look at it from a different perspective. Having a friend which is an opposite sex, especially when it's not your ex-friend, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, for that is a no for me. Okay, but for meeting other people, because you are now married, having a friend which is opposite sex, as far as that friend is known to both of you and is a friend to both of you, I don't see anything wrong in having that friend, whether it's a man or it's a woman. People can go into circumstances. It might be, for example, a friend which is now no longer lost his spouse or anything. Are you going to leave such people not to be friends, have a friend that in life? So I can allow friendship, but it must be known and a friend to the family, not a friend to the wife, nor a friend to the husband when it's the opposite sex.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a follow-up question. So let's say, for example, your wife has a friend of the opposite sex. The person is known to the family, but somehow you just don't vibe. You know, sometimes you see some people, your spirit just does not align with that person. Would you still allow that? Would you still be okay with the fact that they are friends, or would you attempt to limit their closeness?
Yes, I will attempt to limit the closeness. I will once you see somebody and you don't, how do you make friends? You make friends only with those that your spirit agrees with their spirit. So if your spirit from day one does not agree, I will definitely advise. And I will do everything possible to say, for that person, this and these things that he or she exhibits, it cannot be a good friend. So we limit all the things to see him or see her.
Awesome.
Can I quickly add to something?
Yes.
Answer a question there. Okay, there was one time, like 2-3 years ago, Valentine, a day before Val. So one of his ex-girlfriend, she's married, though I don't really know her, but I know her before, you understand? She, every now and then, little issue, she will be calling my husband. And I told my husband, I say, when did you now go to counseling school? Please. This period, the Bible says we should be as white as serpents. This period, you are far off. Leave her alone to settle with her husband, because let the man not come and, let this man not come and feel that now you are the one encouraging the wife to be brave enough to do anything that they will send a killer to you or start blackmailing you, or you don't even know if the man is there. These crocodile tears, I'm a woman also. She should go and pray or go to church, not coming to him, because please, you are not trained to do all this kind of a thing. And we've heard cases of so many things. I'm not that, if you can say I'm jealous, yes, I'm jealous, you are my husband.
Well, it's your right to be jealous. Absolutely.
This is no, please be careful. Be careful. Let your kindness not come and turn to something else. Sorry, lady,
There's a
Lillian.
question in the comment box. Someone is asking, and the question is for Mr. TJ. And the question says that you mentioned that husband should keep money aside.
I'm the one that says.
So I think it's Mrs. Bridget.
There is something-
Not go against open communication, because one of the things that we encourage among couples is that there should be open communication in the home. And
Okay.
I wanted to respond to that, and I'll also add to it.
Okay, God bless him. The reason why I say so is if you know your spouse's weakness and there is no way you can change that person, it's only God that can change a person. You know that if the money is there, everything must be spent, then you now have to use wisdom. Wisdom profits a man. So the word of God says. If you now say out of openness you want to be foolish, it is better to be bad and be rich than to be good and be poor. Because when they say, oh, he's a good man, go and check his account is red. But when they are saying he's a bad man, go and check his investment is all over the world. So you now choose if you want to be good and have a deficit as an account. So that open communication does not mean, when you know who you are dealing with, that if the money is there, we say, oh, my cousin's school fees needs to be paid. Oh, they have to go to this, open check this. So you, as a man, you don't need a counselor, you don't need a prayer point. You will wake yourself up and brace up as in, this battle is my own. I am the one that went for you, and I cannot divorce you. I will put things straight myself. To save for rainy day, not saving to keep for your own self or anything, but to keep for protection for future. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you answered the question right. I think we have another question. Because of our time, I'm going to move the questions to the end because we still have the All Couples Forum at the end. So Titi Izwagi is asking a question. We're going to treat that question at the end. So please stay tuned, and I would encourage everyone, if you have any questions at any time during this event, leave your questions in the comment box. We're going to have an All Couples Forum at the end of this program, whereby we'll be treating all your questions and none of your questions will go unanswered. So please keep leaving your questions. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment box and we shall take it. Now, the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is people falling out of love and it leads to divorce. What I mean by that is when couples first get married, they are in love, and then maybe the first few years they start having children. The moment the children comes in, it's all about tuition. It's all about taking the child to the doctors, regular doctor appointments. You know, our lives are basically wrapped around the children, such that a lot of couples are not intentional about building the relationship, building that intimacy between them. And by the time the kids either leave for maybe boarding house, you know, some countries have boarding house whereby they send the kids to school by age 11, and then some would have to wait till college or university when the kids are already 18. By the time the kids leave the house, couples suddenly realize that they have nothing in common. They've not been communicating for years. And all of a sudden, divorce is, you know, a thing that they're discussing in their house on the table because they can't seem to come together. What advice would you give to couples who are raising children right now? How do they keep that flame burning so that by the time the children leave the house, the vacuum is not there?
Okay.
Let it talk first.
Naturally, for a love to stay alive in a marriage, it has to be the work of the woman. Sorry, women, because the way we are fashioned, the way we are created, we are builders. So as we are raising our children, we should be raising our husband along. We should make our bedroom not a court room, but a bedroom. What I mean by a bedroom is, you know, those 5-star hotels that you go to, those sheets there, you should make the bedroom tantalizing. Ooh, and you should have time for your children. Once it's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock that your husband comes, the children should go to their room, for God's sake, because the children are very selfish, especially the children of nowadays.
That's why they love on you.
Don't let them manipulate you. Once it's 8 o'clock, because if there's no bonding between you and your husband, most times the man will not bond. He will look for a way out. But you are the one that cannot have a way out. Strategize your own. If you have nanny, once it's 8 o'clock, the children mustn't come near you. Not as if you're a bad mom or this. You need to bond with your husband. You need to how was your day? Let your husband feel like a safe heaven in your presence. He should be able to pour out his heart to you. No, even if they say, your children have committed another crime, store up those things. Not every day you come or you'll be phoning the husband from road. Come and see what your child has done today. He will not come home, he will run away. Just ignore. Bear it. The next day, go to school and meet them and settle it. It's maybe when it's not very fierce, how do they say it in finance, very big, before you can now involve him. Leave him. The man is doing a lot. He's going through a lot at work. He's making ends meet. Sort that one out. Face him. Love him. When he's going in the morning, give him a kiss, hug him. While in the office, send him a message. How are you, baby? I hope you are fine. Give him a name. Change his name. Not come here, daddy. This not no. Make him feel like a boy. You at times you massage him. When you learn, you will massage him and call him different names. It's okay to be angry. When he's angry, give him time, because he's not Jesus Christ. Forgive him when he goes wrong. Not that when he goes wrong, you'll be calling all his family members. He will run away. He won't come and tell you sorry. He won't apologize. But even if you catch him doing bad thing, when he comes home, be angry. Later, you will say, okay, go on your knees and pray. Not that every day, okay, I'm praying, I'm so spiritual. You turn your room to altar. Your bedroom is not an altar. There is a bed there. So don't deceive yourself. Don't bring your church altar to your room. We are doing fasting. The pastor said I should stay away. Stay away for what? Every now and then, as you are staying away, he's staying closer to the outside. God will not let it not be our portion. We should create activities. Today, movie game, play cards, you do different things together. As in, when he dressed up, you say, oh, baby, you look so smart today. Tomorrow, he will be so happy to dress in front of you. After you say, no, I don't like this shirt. Go and change it. Just to make him feel that it's important, it's relevant. He will be running home. You are setting his table, giving him different delicacy. You learn different food, not only every day amala and ewedu. Learn everything together. Learn different delicacy that when he's even calling you, he cannot say, oh, I'm going home to eat amala. You will see Chinese today. You will see all those ones. Use food to draw him closer. Then even when the children, he will say, no, wait, I'm with my wife. Come back another day to talk. Make him feel needed. Make him feel relevant. Appreciate every little effort he makes, and never you compare him with his friends. If his friends are buying Jeep, buying all those things, it's not your own business to compare him. Don't remind him of his weaknesses, because he's learning. We are all in learning process. So God will help us. Thank you.
Amen. Wow. You've said it all.
Do I still need to add?
Nothing to add, sir, right?
Okay, I want to just tell you that, my wife calls me Emrat. It's been my name for the last 26 years. So she doesn't call me TJ. And I also call her Pe. Anyway, it's true. If you see what I said from beginning, I said what you were doing before you get married to make the affection stronger, make sure you are doing 10 times that. So once you do that, you've already settled every other thing. So if you were taking her to movies, taking her outing to restaurants, to doing lots of things, make sure you do 10 times what you were doing before. Once you do that, you will never have an issue. Once you do that, never have an issue.
Somebody is saying that I'm putting pressure. Okay, I was not also like this. Yeah, I will tell you, don't be deceived, because okay, then in Port Harcourt, when I was in admin, there was this girl of like 19 years old, 21, a uniform student. She came to do IT with us. So the next day, having little thing, because since I'm at HR, we go, oh, He will say, excuse me, ma'am, I'm coming. She will disappear. Where are you going? And these flowers that she will be receiving. One day, and I called her, I said, come. Do you know when I saw her phone, I wept. Why? She has different names. She called different people's husbands. Baby, this, have you eaten? Oh, I know you are going out now for conference. How is it going? How is your presentation? Love art, this is it. I was like, what? He said, don't worry now. And as she's there, she's using her money to go and buy, as far back as I'm talking about in 90 something now, buying McDonald's, is it KFC or what they had then? There's eatery joints, Obasanjo, taking to, he was said that they didn't have dispatch rider. He will use Okada to buy, go and drop on their gates in all those Transamadi and come back to office again. I was like, what? You doing this? He said, yes, because many of them are suffering. Their wife don't even take care of them. They come home and be telling them about school fees. They come home and be telling them irrelevant as if I'm lesson teacher. If the child does not know, does she not know she needs to get a lesson teacher? Why coming to tell me all those kind of things that bug me? I was like, what? So this is real reality, not home video. So I clean my eyes. I said, no, there's a lot to learn from this. Then I was like 27 or 30. She was like 19 years old, 200 level Unipol student. I said, why is it this? He said, there is no muti juju anywhere. That these are all the things that they do. That some of them, their nightgown is smelly. Their hair nets, they don't do it. They will just that part of hair. They will just be wearing one gown from morning till night. And they don't even remember to change sheets. When they come, they see pampers everywhere. I said, God. So these are all the things that, he said, yes. I was like, that was when I even learned that they have different way they lay their sheets. When you use the flowered one or as the duvet, you use a plain sheet there. When you use color blue today, I think, where will you get all this time? He said, that is it. You don't need to go to any native doctor. This is it. I just kept quiet and I pinched myself. So in the course of my prayer, Holy Spirit now said, I just want you to know that you have work to do as yourself. Not only just wearing clothes and be going and be wearing costume. Go back home and check your wardrobe today. There are some things you are wearing, your husband will not be able to tell you that it's bad. Because he say, if I say it now, we enter trouble. Yeah, let me just ignore you. But when you kneel down, Holy Spirit will show you. Rearrange your closet. And when they correct you, listen to instruction. Don't be deceived. You are not equal to a man. You can never be equal to a man. That's not what the Bible says. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ma. So someone is asking a question. I'm going to ask that at the end because of our time. She's asking about women who go to work, but we don't have that time at this moment. We're going to answer every question at the end. And thank you so much, Sir and Ma, for the wisdom that you've shared. Time is not our friend, so we have to go for now. And we are still looking forward to having you back on the men's forum. If you are here, part of the audience, we have a men's forum coming up. And you don't want to miss this. If you have any man on your contact list, your husband, put this event on the TV so they can watch and listen and learn and unlearn and relearn. We'll be right back after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You'll be like heaven to touch. And I wanna hold you so much. As long as love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive, 'cause you're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Not in the way that I stare. There's nothing else to compare. The sight of you leaves me weak. There are no words left to speak. But if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. 'Cause you're just too good to be true. Take my eyes off of you. I love you, baby. Oh, if it's quite alright, I need you, baby. To warm the lonely nights, I love you, baby. Trust in me when I say it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Oh, pretty baby. Don't let me down, I pray. that I found you, stay and let me love you. Oh, baby, let me love you, oh, baby. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You be like heaven to touch, and I wanna hold you so much. As long as time has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive, 'cause you're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. And I love you, baby. Well, if it's quite alright, I need you, baby. So on the lonely nights, I love you, baby. Trust in me when I say it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Oh, pretty baby, don't let me down, I pray. Oh, pretty baby, now that I found you, stay and let me love you. Oh, baby, let me love you, oh, baby.
My name is Jason Damlari Adeshego David. I'm married to Temitayo Adeshego David. I met my wife in 2006. I can still remember, the encounter with her. She walked into an auditorium where we're having tutorials. I was, just about to, gain admission into the university, and then she came in that day, and I don't know why it stuck in my mind. I did forget, that sight of her I had that day. But obviously, it wasn't as if I had in mind that, oh, we're going to get married or something. So yes, but that was how I met her. We became friends afterwards, and yeah, we were colleagues in school. And in 2011, yeah, I proposed to her, and we got married in 2013. So these are our we're going to be 8 years by April the 6th. When I got into marriage, I discovered something that we had to walk through. I found out after we got married that she loved to talk in the night. She wanted to ask, how did your day go? How did you experience, work and all of that? And or what did you discover today and stuff? And she wanted to tell me about her day. But I was this kind of person who slept off the moment I eat the bed. So it was that kind of struggle at the beginning. But I needed to tell her at that point, after I'd done this again repeatedly, where I slept off when she was trying to talk with me, I knew I needed to change. So I had to talk to God and say, Father, please help me. This thing means a lot to your daughter, so I really want you to help me. So what I told my wife next was, hey babe, or Temi, I call her Temi. I said, Temi, please, I can't promise you to change tomorrow or even next tomorrow, but I promise you that if we pray together, if you're patient with me, I know the Father will hear my prayers. He will hear our prayers, and it will make me become, this person who is capable of, staying awake and all of that. And not surprisingly, because God answers prayers, but surprisingly as well, it was one day it just dawned on me that, whoa, we've not had friction around this area, as it were. And so I just discovered that, oh, God has answered. And so for married people, I think this is something you should do. Don't be too much in a hurry to say, I will change, when you know that you've lived with a behavior for years. And, when you promise and you don't fulfill it, it actually leads to a lot of friction, that kind of thing. So it's good when you're able to talk about it and say, okay, I really know what this, how well this will bless you and how well it will help you, and all of that. But I can't promise, but God is able to make, that transformation happen. And so for married, for singles, I think I would like to just leave you with this counsel. Seek the Lord. Marriage is meant to mirror Christ and the church. So for you to experience bliss in your marriage, I think you need to go meditate upon the relation between Christ and the church. That gives you a template of what marriage should look like, and then it gives you a good enough, vision and ambition as to what your marriage should look like. I believe you have been blessed. Thank you so much.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to go into our third couple. We're going to have their session right now. And our third couple are none other than Pastors Ronke and Victor Taiwo, all the way from Canada. They are ready to go. If you thought that Mrs. Bridget was on fire, because I saw some messages rolling in on my phone, people were saying, that woman is on fire. She needs to come back. Wait till you hear our dear pastors. So welcome them, Pastor and Mrs. Ronke. No, I'm going to say that again. Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Victor and Ronke Taiwo.
Hello.
Awesome.
I'm so glad to be here.
Oh my
and I've
goodness.
had
Thank
fun.
you
I've
so
been
much.
blessed. Yeah.
Thank you, Ma and Sir, for joining us today. It is our absolute pleasure and honor having you on board. Thank you for accepting our invitation. You look radiant. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are so excited, so pumped to be here,
Yeah.
I know you
awesome. And we've been enjoying
all the sessions, all the speakers have been
awesome.
wonderful.
Awesome.
And the audience have been great too.
Great
Yeah. Beautiful chat. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get started. Our time is fast spent and we need to get started. You need to give us what we're looking for.
Yeah.
You've been married for 11 years. How did you know you were meant for each other? You know how some people say, oh, he's my soulmate. Some people say marriage is dark market, like you don't know what you're getting. How can intending couples be sure that they are picking the right partner? We talk about marrying the flesh of your flesh, the bone of your bone. It doesn't always happen like that. And once people are married, there are a lot of tears that happen when they choose supposedly the wrong partner, because sometimes some people say there's nothing like a wrong partner unless that person is really happy. So whatever it is, whatever advice you'd like to give to intending couples or people that are getting ready to be married, how will they know that this is the right person?
All right.
I understand.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would love to answer that. Well, my wife, is someone that the first day we met, she spoke to me first.
Ooh, okay.
She didn't know that I had her in mind. I actually came to that location to get her, but she didn't know.
Like went ahead of the thing.
Yeah. So she just started, talking with me. As at that time, I didn't know she was the one because one of our friends,
friends wanted to matchmake us. Yeah.
One of our friends introduced, her to me. I mean, me to her. I don't know which way we'll look at it.
Whatever. We understand.
And so I said, I want to meet this lady, and I went to the place, and so I don't even know. I've not seen her. I've only heard so much about her. That my friend told me so much about her that this lady is so great. She's so good and all that. So. And we got talking, and I noticed that we had friends in common. She started talking to me about some of people in my school, who are friends, who come to her and all that. And I'll be like, how come we had so much in common? How much we have so much, mutual friends, and we were just from the very first day. It was after some conversation, and I discovered that, okay, are you the Ronke that my friend was talking about? So that was the first contact, and there seems to have been a connection right from that, and the flow. I mean, we could just flow. There's this flow thing. It's really hard to know exactly how but you just know that, okay, look, there's this flow. There's this flow. And I think it's, for me, I'm been a pastor before, I met my wife, and I'm this kind of person that believes in,
counsel,
getting God to, really approve a relationship. And so
there's this divine connection that I can really pinpoint that really made me make that shot and made me conclude that, look, this is it. I mean, God really gave me that divine connection. I was able to see, I was able to get a certain dimension of direction from God.
Dimension of direction.
Yeah. Everybody needs to know how God speaks to them, right? I, as a person, I've been learning over the years that I want to know how God speaks. One of the things they teach us in church, even before I became a pastor, is how to hear God's voice. Because God does speak, God does guide. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart.
And lean
not on your own understanding, because your understanding can fail, right? I've had a lot of people I'm interested in. If I had a long list that time.
You were okay.
Incidentally, she wasn't even in that list because I've not even met her. I met her, I think I asked her out 3 months after I met her also. So she wasn't even in the initial. Yeah. But somewhere along the line, that divine connection was there, divine guidance was there, and I was like, look, this is it. And it became, even talking to her is so easy. I told her something. One thing I really love about her is she's so lovable. She's easy to love. I've tried to date or court some people. I mean, ask some other ladies out. It was so difficult. I mean, there was someone I was on for 2 years. Right, 2 years was a no, and it will no, and if there's something called 9 inches nail, I got that, but within a short time, if I should give me a yes in 2 weeks, I mean, that's God confirming that's it.
Yeah, I just want to give an encouragement to people that feel, okay, maybe I'm not somebody, because he is very, very spiritual. He could see visions, he could dream dreams and things like that. But for me, it wasn't like that. I didn't hear a voice from heaven, neither did I have a dream, telling me that, oh, this is the one for you. But I think I just made my decision, number one, based on 3 major things. Number one, the physical attraction was there for me. I found it easy. When I first met him, for me, it was not my spec. It was not the kind of person, the way he used to dress and everything was not really what I wanted. But I found that despite that, I was still attracted to him. It was somebody I always wanted to spend time with, wanted to speak with. So I knew that physically it was not a problem. Then when we looked at the fact that we connected on all levels, every time we talk, it's as if we have been friends forever. Like, we think the same way, we have ideas the same way. Sometimes he will say something, I say the next line, I'll be like, are you reading my thoughts? So I was able to get that. Then the third thing, I really wanted spiritual direction too, because I've always been a Christian, and even before him there was somebody that fit all the bill, that came before me, but I was not just okay with it in my mind, even though it looked like this picture. In his own case, it didn't really look like the picture of what I wanted, but I really just wanted to pray to God. But I noticed that every time I prayed about him, I felt peace in my heart. I just felt a peace that it wasn't really working. It was just starting pastoring and everything. I was already working in a bank, earning over 175,000 monthly, so it was like there was a different, we are like different words. But anytime I think about him, anytime I pray about him, anytime I just put him in my mind, I just feel a lot of peace. Then lastly, I wanted to say again, his character. He has a very good character. He's very caring, very respectful. Everybody around me that came in contact with him would like him immediately. So he says, I'm lovable, I'm likable. I think he has that trait too, that people around, like if he comes to my house, when you want to greet somebody and you double a flat, he has all those, respectful tendencies that everybody just, seem to like him, and he had a good character. Then I also had to, because I didn't know him well, I also had to speak to people that knew him. And everybody had good news, because you can't really know somebody within a short time. But there are some people that have known him all their lives, and everybody had a good thing to say about him. In fact, when people talk to me, they'll be like, I don't think you're good enough for him. I think he's even too good for you. And I'm like, I'm good too now. Am I that bad? And so I think that all those things came together, and it just helped me to make my decision. So like he said, just because most people, it's not like you hear God. You have never had a situation where God has spoken to you. Before he heard about me from God, he has been having encounters with God and everything. But for some people, you don't have that. Then you want to get married, you want to hear by force, you go to the mountain, you want to go and meet a pastor to pray for you, and you
to choose
from list. You put some list and say, I want to know the person. You know, you can't make a decision by that. You make a decision from yourself, because most of the time when we want to hear God, we are looking outside of us, while God is inside of us. God is inside of us, working with our thoughts, working with our emotions, working with, you know, everything within us. So when we want to hear God and we are like, God, where are you? We are going far away, because God is actually inside of us, and He will use things within us to speak to us. And so if we can get all those things together, you know, we can believe that, okay, it's a good start. But saying all this, marriage is still hard work. It's not about you are perfect and perfect will come together. It's about both of us continually working to make it work. So
Continually working to make it work. I love something that you said. I think what I got, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the fact that you had financial gap.
Yeah.
You were already working at the bank, so you weren't really looking at his bank account at that. So, because that's what a lot of people look at least a lot of women, not all women, you look at bank account, or does this person have potential because taking care of financially? How do you feel the peace, the financial peace, knowing that you're going into this marriage, but you're making so much more? You were making so much more than him. How did you feel that peace? Or what led you to making that decision? Because that's a crucial decision.
For me, I've always, maybe because of the circumstances of life that I came from, my father died when I was 6 years old. You know, so my mother took care of us, sent us all, like took care of us to master's level. If we wanted to go abroad, she had the money to send us. She was self-sufficient on her own. And, you know, I was brought up under that. So every time I always thought of making it in life, of having so many things, I never used to think about a man coming into my life to make me better. I used to think of it that, oh, if my mother can, you know, make it on her own, even when her husband died, then I can make it. For me, I didn't really see it as, okay, when I get married, I see somebody that, of course, when you get married, it will ease the burden off you. That's normal. When somebody else, but that was not my target. My real target was, I just wanted somebody that could really love me, you know, the way I wanted to be loved. And for me, my number one way of love is not just you spending money on me. You know, there were some other things I just wanted that person. So for me, it wasn't really an issue. You know, when I have friends and they'll say, I can't marry a poor man, I have to be, you know, one of the first things I used to tell them that, why do you have to put your life's happiness on another person? Why don't you say, I can't be poor, I will be rich? Yeah, because you are the only one that cannot disappoint yourself. If you marry somebody and the person is even rich, he can choose not to give you money. But if it's your own money, you can, you know. So I tell young girls, when they say, I want to marry somebody, a girl was talking to me, said, I wanted to marry somebody that works, that has a house, that has money in his bank. I was like, hello, do you have a car? She said, no. And you want somebody with a car? Do you have a good house? She said, I stay with my parents. Do you have a bank? How much do you have in your bank? I don't even have a bank account. I said, you are not ready. You know, you are not ready yet, you know, in as much as, and you want somebody that is there, you want a king, you can't make yourself a queen. Even kings don't go to peasants. We have seen situations where kings wanted to marry people that are not from the royal family. Even if they end up, you know, marrying the person, is a lot of trouble. They go through it. But if you are from the same level, it makes it easier for you that, oh, you are a king, there's another queen, and you are attracted. Come and get married, you know. So I think the point is that in as much as we want somebody good, we want somebody rich, we want a man's life does not consist on the things that he owns, but what are the things that owns the man? You know, because things change. The man can have money today, tomorrow he doesn't have money. What do you do then? Do you say, I want to divorce you because when I married you, you were rich, but now you're no longer rich? Yeah, I'm divorcing you, I'm going, you know. So I think you should, as a lady, that should not be the major point for you. It should be like, but for me, like I said, I had financial independence then. I had money. So maybe it helped me that, in fact, that was one of the reasons my parents allowed me to marry him. My mom was like, well, I know you have a job, you can't suffer. So if you insist that this is the person you want to marry, it's your choice, you know, just go ahead and get married to him. So
wow,
that's what I feel about it.
If you want to marry a king, be a queen yourself. Oh, you ladies,
it makes it easier to attract a king.
Queen yourself. Awesome. And thank you so much for that. Now, I want to go into one major topic that is a point or a bone of contention in a lot of homes, not all homes, but in a lot of homes, and that is the issue of intimacy. And I know that intimacy is an important component of a successful marriage. However, we have a lot of women and even some men that complain that their spouses do not satisfy them in bed. How should a wife or husband handle not being satisfied in bed? What advice would you give to resolve this issue that causes a lot of friction in homes?
Yeah, I think let me start from saying that number one thing, sex is very, 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 very important in marriage, because people have gotten to a stage where they are putting it at the back burner. They say things like, oh, even when you get married, you won't have sex every day. We know, but you will still have sex.
And they say sex is not,
it's not food. You know, we know, but it's food for the soul. You understand? Okay. Yeah, even though it's not physical food that you have to eat every day. So it's important. I don't want us to see it as something that you throw in the back burner. And why did I say so? Like I always say, sex with your spouse is the only thing you cannot delegate to somebody else. You know, there are many things you can delegate to people. You can get somebody to cook for you. You can get somebody to take care of your children for you. You can even get an housekeeper to make your house clean. If you can't do it yourself, you are busy, you can do everything. But if you need somebody, if your husband needs somebody to sleep with you, can you tell your friend that Bisi, please, can you just sleep with my husband for 30 minutes? No, you can't do that. So if that is one major aspect that nobody else can do for you, then I feel that we should do everything to work towards it. And how do we do it? As a woman, I think one of the major things is that we have to speak out about our feelings. You know, this person is your husband. Don't think, oh, if I tell him this, he might think I'm bad. No, you have to speak out. You know, how do you like it? What would you like him to do? Because for him, he just wants, the major point of interest is at his own orgasm. Meanwhile, as a woman, you want to enjoy the whole process. That is from the beginning to the end. So how do you communicate your needs to him and say, okay, this is what I like? If you can't speak out, let the moans do the talking. When he gets to a place where it's good, shout out well, and the person will note that point. If the person is a sharp guy, you understand. But the thing is that look for a way to communicate your feelings, what you want from the person, when it comes to sex. Let me not just say too much, because when I start talking, I just go. So let me give my husband the stage.
I mean, for real, sex. We have had sex conversations. I know a lot of couples find it hard to, talk about that matter. But we have had times, and times that we have had to sit down and say, look, this thing, I want more of this, or I want it this way, or I want it that way. There's nothing to be shy about with your spouse. When it comes to sex, I like as a person to be open, because if all things said and done, if something goes wrong, people will not say, okay, maybe you weren't satisfied at home. They'll say, as a pastor, for example, say, oh, the first thing you hear in the news is pastor so as giving, as impregnated somebody, So we discuss it. Look, we talk about sex up to the point of how frequently should we have it. Look, this thing I want it up to 5 times, and my wife said, okay, I want it up to 3 times. Okay, we'll say, okay, 5 plus 3 divided by 2. That's 4 times a week. It kind of amazes me when I hear couples who say, okay, we've not had sex for 6 months, for 4 months, for 3 months. I'll be like, something must be wrong somewhere. Somebody is missing out, or somebody is doing something somewhere that I can't really understand. So communication is key. We need to really, really talk about it. We need to talk about it, and of course, we need to, approach sex with the high of giving. Giving, not taking. When you want to satisfy, your spouse in sex, you go with an approach of, I want to give. Yeah. I want to give to this person. I want to give my love. I want to give my heart. Many times when it comes to sex, my wife and she'll be like, sex is not love, it's lust. I'll say sex is love. We kind of go back and forth on this. but the truth is that we are making love, right? Making love. So it's actually love. So we are giving, and love is about giving. How do you give? You try to see how do you make the other person enjoy it. No, we need to stop, looking at sex as, okay, he should do it this way or she should do it this way for us to both enjoy it or for it to happen. But let's look at it this way, that how can I give this for him or her to enjoy it? So the woman should not stay back and say, okay, until it starts from 6 a.m. in the morning, I won't give in by 9 p.m. in the evening. The man is saying, okay, until she's, she cooks the best meal and, dresses this way, I can't really give my best. No, let's remove all the boundaries. Let's just
all the boundaries.
Go out there, to our spouses.
Have the other person's
let's see how best can I, if you have your spouse in mind that want to make her feel good. To start from 6 a.m. won't be difficult. And you start sending the text, start giving her the signal, and start, rubbing her shoulders. Go to, these days when we work from home, I just go to my wife in the home office and I start doing some things. I hope the singles are not watching. Let me try. I'm just starting to
to the next question because of time.
I know.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. So I love how you said that when you approach sex from the aspect of giving, then it becomes easier. Especially a lot of women think it's a chore. Like they are tired from taking care of the kids. They've gone to work all day. They are just tired and they are uninterested. And then the man is not even taking them to high places or, high levels, whatever. So most women will just tend to say, you know what, I'm done. I don't want this. But I like how you said that, approach it from the aspect of giving. Thank you for that. So in an ideal marriage, when you get married, one of the first things they tell you is that two souls have become one. Like a man and a woman coming together, they leave their parents, they come together and they form one unit in Christ, if you are a Christian. But a lot of people say this is impossible. And you hear things even in marriages whereby the husband is doing his thing separately. He doesn't trust the wife is doing her thing separately. I've even heard of cases whereby a wife will go and buy a piece of land without telling the husband. The husband would buy a property somewhere without telling the wife. In the will, the husband doesn't fully put the wife's name, puts the children's name. All these complex things going on. In your opinion, especially in the aspect of finances, what advice would you give to couples to be more open or transparent in their finances and even in doing things together, in doing things truly together as husband and wife?
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is one of my should I say one of the areas I'm most excited about when it comes to talking about marriage and love, because if we can understand the concept behind oneness, it will be so easy. It will be so easy to, be able to scale through, financial oneness and every other thing that goes around it. We just need to understand that, I like using the scripture because as Christians, when we look at things, I always advise couples to make, the Bible the center of their families. Arguments will be reduced when the Bible has the final say, when God's word has the final say. You can always go back to drawing board and say, okay, what does the Bible say about it? So, in the book of Mark, chapter 10, from verse 8 to 10, we'll see where God, there's a key word there that I just want us to hold. And I'll just say that, God said they are no longer two. They become one. Okay? They are no, if we realize that when we got married, we are no longer two people, we have become one. That would help us to treat each other as ourselves.
So,
a man shall leave his father and mother and shall be cleaved to his wife, and they will become one. In other words, if you can see yourself in your mind that, look, she is not herself, she is me. I used to tell my wife, I say this a lot. I tell her, look, you are me. At times when I say it jokingly, I say we look alike, we're like twins. And you say no, you don't look at, we don't look alike. But if you, I mean, look at us. Don't you think
we don't look alike? Do we look alike?
So we are no longer two different individuals. Two hearts are joined together. There's a spiritual oneness that should take place in every marriage that makes our finances to be one. So we shouldn't, see it as, okay, your money, my money. It is our money. It is our home. It's our family.
Our children. The same way your children is not your children, my children.
We use that high word a lot, and it's not so helpful for the marriage. We need to, in marriage, the key word is we. We. So finances, your money, you try to, make sure that it's not even the style. There are many styles people use. Okay, some people say, okay, you spend your money on this, I'll spend my money on that. Some people say, okay, well, let's bring it together and we'll now make a budget at the end of the month. Some say, okay, let's have the same account. Some say, okay, it's about two hearts. If you can, we don't even bother our head about how many accounts do we have. But the point is, you want to spend something, it's your money. The money we have together, it's yours, it's mine. So you are free to, to do whatever. Of course, there's a wisdom of financial management, and which you will learn together as couples, which wouldn't make it difficult when it comes to making financial decisions. So oneness, if we can understand that oneness principle, that you are no longer two, you are one, then it becomes easier to spend money together, to do things together, and everything.
I just wanted to, I think my husband has said a lot about financial oneness, because we must get to a place where we are together, because no matter how, it always hurts more when both of you are not in the picture. For example, if I know everything in his account, I know how much is there. So if I want to plan and budget, I know what I'm budgeting with. But if I don't know, somebody is hiding this, another. In fact, I know families where the wife does not know the salary of the husband, and I'm like, the wife can just imagine you are earning 1 million, and why? Because you are not telling her, you are not even showing her the true picture. She doesn't know. So I think couples should be open enough together. I think it's one of the major things of trust. Most of the time, couples don't open up to each other based on trust. Number one, either they don't trust the party, or they don't want the other. They know the other party will not trust them, because okay, how can you explain that you made $100,000 and in 2 weeks is over? What did you do with it? Meanwhile, you knew that you spent it on a side chick. So how will you tell your wife that, okay, I spent it on another lady? So those are, many of those things are the things that doesn't make it easy for couples to come together and trust each other. And I understand that a lot of people might be going through this, and I pray that God will give you healing and God will give you the best wisdom tips to go about it. Because in some cases, one person wants to be open, but the other party is not so open, And
what can they do in that instance? When one person, what can they do in that instance? What would you recommend if one person wants to be open and the other person is telling the other person that, I grew up in a polygamous family, I know life, I've seen life, and I really can't put myself into this 100%. So
I think advice in that kind of situation, like I say, you don't have the authority over another person's actions. The only person's action you can control is yourself. So there's no magic wand that you will do. I won't give you something and say it 3 times, and the person will start, following you, or doing whatever you want to do. But number one, you have to pray for wisdom, for God to lead you to know how to go about things. What are the approaches you need to do? Number two, you have to also be careful so that things will, like I always say, sometimes for some people it's even knowledge. They don't have the right knowledge. Okay, a man wants to, a woman leaves the money, a whole bulk of money to the husband to buy a house. He writes Mr. and Mrs. Taiwo. Why Mr. and Mrs.? What if he marries somebody tomorrow? That person is the new Mrs. Then you are no longer privy to, that thing. So number one, we have to get knowledge. Number two, we have to use wisdom. Then number three, we have to get to a stage, like if you can't control the other person, get to a stage where your joy will not be affected by what the other party is doing, where you can get only your joy from God and keep praying and hoping that things will change. Or maybe talk to other people that get to know him, or just wish that the person will be exposed to the right information. So I think that can happen. So I understand that happens, but if two people are Christians, they are coming together. I think most of this thing they should discuss it before marriage.
we get married.
We should discuss it. How do we want to spend money? How many children do we want to have?
have.
Like couples that are fighting over irrelevant things. Like the wife wants the child to go to one special school somewhere, and the husband said, no, don't waste money. It should go to, and it's a big fight. Like they fight for real, just because of the school the children will go to. So I think all these things you have to be open together. Then number three, you mentioned also to build intimacy. I think three things, play the part of being the number one, you play together. Number two, you pray together, and number three, you stay together. So that is play or ways to play. Play, pray, and stay. It builds intimacy. It makes you closer to that person. When you play with somebody, they become your friend. Yeah. When you see children and they are playing together, even if they just met that person that day, and you ask, who is that? They say, my friend. And you be like, your friend. You just saw him today, but we were playing football together, so he's now my friend. He might not even know the person's name, but he says he's my friend. So I and my husband will put play on our calendar, because we know how busy we can. I work full time. I also do ministry by the side. I have a business running by the side. My husband too is so busy doing business, doing church and everything. So we put it on our calendar. Every Friday evening, we must go out. Like even yesterday, I was so tired. I was like, we have programs. I want to rest. But I was like, no, we are going out tonight. We must look for something to play with. Play. Then when you pray together, people think prayer pulls them apart, but prayer is one way that can build intimacy. When I was having sex early in my marriage, I was having problems with sex because it was always so painful for me. I think almost all through the first year of my marriage. So sex is like a chore. When I want to go, God help me. Hey, now it's coming again. Oh. It was for me. But I had to pray about it, and we just put it in prayer, and we saw that the more we prayed, the more we bounded together sexually. The more a family, people say a family that prays together stays together. And it's so many things. It's fact that you are coming together, you are talking together about that thing. But because of time, the last one, we have to stay together, look for opportunities to be together. Even if you are far away, there is technology. When I was dating my husband, I was in Lagos, it was in Ilefe. We're so far to each other, but we got a CUG phone that if you load maybe just 100 naira, we're in Nigeria, then on it, you'll be able to talk all through the day without any other charges. So sometimes if he has money,
it was about 30 naira per day.
30 naira per day, and we can talk all through the day. So somebody will buy it today, another person. So if I have credit already, I'll tell them don't bother buying credit. I mean, I'll be the one calling you today. If it's tomorrow, and we were able to stay together even though we were far apart. Why? Because we were keeping ourselves in our mind. So those are the ways that you can build intimacy as a couple.
I just want to add one more thing to that. Finances, especially, I think one of the problems is people are selfish. Naturally, if we can remove selfishness from our homes, from our marriages, it will be way better. Okay, so when we are selfish, that's when the other person doesn't want the other person to know how much he's earning or how he's spending his money. I mean, you have, and selfishness detach you from oneness. You are just saying me and myself alone. So we need to come out from that selfishness and really, really come together as a team. If somebody is having difficulty, especially in that area of finances, I would suggest to get maybe a coach or a counselor. The two of them need to learn under the same umbrella. It's so easy for people to resolve issues when they have same learning curve.
Environment. Yes. Yeah. People need to learn under the same environment.
Not like somebody is telling you, don't tell your wife anything. Another person is telling you must tell, and they have two different views.
So, I mean, there are coaches, there are counselors, there are people that can really, really sit the two of you down
and help.
And help.
Speaking of counselors, some people refuse to go to counselors. Usually, women are more open to looking for solutions in their marriage when they have problems. But a lot of women have also reported that the men are not open to it. So when you speak of a counselor, if your wife goes to her husband and she suggests that counselor thing and the husband says, no, how then will the issue be resolved?
Yeah, I think one of the things I tell people, because sometimes I talk to people, because people in the people know me, with my coaching and everything, I do love coaching. And one of the things I tell people, most of the time, most people that come to meet me are the wives, and the husbands are not there, and they'll be like, how do we do it? And I'll be like, you can't force him to do it. But if you can see a difference, especially when it comes to sexual coaching, like I talk to you about sex and things like that, and the husband sees a difference in your action in that area.
What now the change? Is that what you're saying?
change? So the husband will be like, what have you been doing? And I just recently met this coach. In fact, she mentioned it that if we can speak to her together, your husband will be ready and say, oh, let's go. If it's, of course, if it's an open person. But what I'm trying to say is that, like I always tell people, when you go for counseling, the reason why many people go for counseling is so that the counseling can see the wrong thing about the other party. So when the counseling is talking, you are not, when he's talking about things that has to do with you, your mind is not there. But when he's talking about things that has to do with person, tell him that he has to, or tell her, you know, and things like that. So that is what most of us even wants to go and do in counseling. But when you go to counseling, number one, you yourself, you must be able to open up within and see, where have I been wrong?
You're wrong.
What are the things I can do better? Maybe it can ignite a change. Maybe it can start a difference. So I think that is what I want to say about counseling. Yeah.
Wow. We have another question. We're going to take that question during the All Couples Forum.
Yeah.
We're going to move on now. Thank you so much, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Taiwo. It's been an amazing time with you.
Yeah.
We are see you very soon. We know you are still here, but we need to move on to the men's forum. We've been waiting for the men's forum, and we really need to move on. If you are in the audience, thank you so much for engaging. Keep leaving your comments. If you have any questions, leave the question in the comment box. We'll be taking your questions shortly. But right now, let's go on a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We've all heard that men and women think differently. The man's brain is like half and half, the woman's brain is like a fudge swirl.
Really?
Well, not exactly, but the truth is very similar to this. Not all human brains are the same. Here are the ways the male brain is different from the female brain. Male's brain is 10% larger. However, that does not affect the IQ. Gray matter contains most of the brain's neuronal cell bodies. Men have nearly 6.5 times more gray matter, white matter, made up of bundles, which connect various gray matter areas. Women have nearly 10 times more of it. As a result, men tend to be very task-focused, and women are great at multitasking. Women use both sides of the brain to process information. Men use the left side for most activities. Women have verbal centers on both sides of the brain. Men tend to have them on the left hemisphere. All that results in women that tend to use more words, and men who have a hard time expressing feelings. Women have more connections, moving from left to right, while men have more connections, moving from front to the back. This makes men have greater synergy between perception and action. They tend to resolve problems directly. It can also explain why women are more inclined to combine logic and intuition. Woman's brain has a greater blood flow than man's through specific regions. That may partially explain why women tend to be more empathetic, intuitive, and collaborative. And also why women are more prone to anxiety, depression, and eating disorders. Women often have a larger hippocampus than men. That may explain why women are better at expressing themselves emotionally. Amygdala is larger in men. Maybe that is why men tend to respond to emotional stress physically.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Reawakened Love. My name is Sheon Akiloton. I'm your moderator and host for today. Now we're going to move into the men's only forum. Everybody say men. We're ready to hear from our men because they have something to say. But before we do that, we wanted to say that if you didn't get a chance to participate in the giveaway that we announced when we started, so if you are with your spouse, if you're actually watching with your spouse, we want you to take a selfie and post that picture on social media using the hashtag Reawakened Love, and we're going to announce the winner. You're going to win a sweatshirt. And then we also have another giveaway for a food platter sponsored by At All Sufficient Catering. And to win this, listen carefully, to win this, you have to say the month and the year that I got married. Just the month. I'm not going to bother you about the day. To win a food platter from At All Sufficient Catering. Now, we are going to move into the men's forum because we want to hear from our men. There are specific questions that we know only men can answer. And that's why we have this men's forum. We want you to take advantage of it. If your husband is home, gently tap him to come and watch, or put the event on your screen, on your TV, so everyone can learn together. Now let's have our men so that we can get started. Welcome, men! Welcome, sirs. Welcome, sirs. Welcome, sirs. We're so excited about this session. And because our time is far gone, I'm going to dive right in. A lot of men say their wives do not respect them. And one of the things I want to achieve at this event today is to settle this matter of respect. So we would love to hear from you, sirs. What does respect mean to you? Because I know that a lot of men say, she doesn't respect me. My wife doesn't respect me. What behaviors or characteristics will a woman exhibit for you to consider it disrespectful? Please, we want to hear from you, and I'll start with Dave.
Okay, I think in my experience, there are certain areas that men generally, especially myself, we like to feel that we are being respected in these areas. The first I would say is my judgment. I want to feel as if you trust and believe and honor my judgment. The second I would say is ability. Like if I say that I can do something, I don't want the first word from you to be, you can't do that. I want to feel as if you believe in my ability and what I say I can do. The third thing I would say is in communication. I think men have a big thing about how do you talk to me, right? Like oftentimes throughout the world, whether it be in your career or in your classrooms, men may be talked to in ways that they may not feel powerful or strong. And to come home and feel like, wow, even my wife is talking down to me, sometimes that can be a crushing feeling. And I'd say the last thing is in public too. I want to feel as if you respect me in front of others. How are you putting me down? Are you elevating me? How do I feel as if you are addressing me in front of other people? For me personally, those are the areas. But to be honest, there is a part that we as men also have to work in, because sometimes it can be masked as pride. Like I feel like you hurt my pride or my ego, and it's not so much that you didn't respect me, it's that you brought truth to a situation and I didn't like the truth. But those are the areas that I think can kind of maybe illuminate for certain women. When I say like I feel disrespected, maybe think that disrespect his judgment or his assumptions or his abilities or his communication. Those are the type of things that maybe you should consider.
Okay. We're taking notes. Women, are you taking notes? All right, Pastor Victor.
Okay, for me, respect will mean if you listen to me, most of the time, listening is one of the most difficult communication skills that, a lot of us are trying to catch up with, talking is easier, kind of. I mean, I know many people dread to talk, I've once heard that, one of the greatest fears is public speaking. Some people would rather be in the casket than be the one giving the eulogy and all that. But then, listening, I think, is harder than speaking, in my opinion, because when somebody is saying something that, just like Dave has said, if somebody is saying the truth or something you really don't want to listen to, you will kind of close your ears and show it, and the other person will feel disrespected. That, look, I'm saying this, I mean, look at the issue of telephone, for example. Somebody's talking to you, and you're like pressing the phone, and the person is talking to you. You feel disrespected. That, look, can I have a moment? Can we just talk? So many times people just, I mean, for me, I need attention, just that listening ears, and of course it can also move into the issue of like following my leadership, following my advice sometimes if it's correct. I mean, not all the, I may not be correct all the time, but then I feel there should be consideration given to what I say. If I say something, okay, you should at least say, okay, what, that makes sense. Even if it doesn't make sense, don't tell me immediately like, look, that's stupid. Just to say, okay, well, we'll look at it, I mean, look for a way of, so because sometimes we just want to give it back to each other so hard, and it really, marriage involves you being a little nice. If you have to, to respect each other, many times you just need to be nicer. You can't talk to your spouse the same way you talk to your kids. You can, I mean, tell your kids off sometimes, but your spouse, you have to really look for a way of crafting it so that the person, I mean, look at, I always like to go to Bible stories sometimes. Nathan is a prophet, was about to correct David on a very, very, dangerous thing. I mean, David just committed adultery. He just, in fact, killed someone else, innocent man. And the prophet of God had a message from God. God actually sent him to David, but then he started by telling the story and made David to be the judge of that story. That, okay, if this happens, somebody has all these animals and left all his own animals and went to take another person who has just one. And even we should kill that person. Say, oh, that's what you just did. And maybe
that takes wisdom.
That was wisdom. So, when we correct each other, we should correct in love. So, respect, when you correct me in a way that I won't feel like, like a fool, So, I mean, that's because we will always correct. There's something they call the sandwich principle. You want to correct somebody, try to praise the person first. Okay, you are, you've done this well. I appreciate you for doing this, but I still want you to do this. There's still this thing you have not done, but I know you are always kind. I really appreciate your kindness. You are very good. So you have kind of praised the person. You put the the request or the correction in the middle, and you sandwich it with a praise again. The person, it will be easier to swallow than we live in a generation where criticism is so high on the internet everywhere. Everybody finds it so easy to criticize, to abuse anybody. And so if we bring that to our home and your husband or your wife does something and you snap immediately and you fire and you're always giving it fire for fire, that home is in trouble. So that's just in a nutshell. That's just what respect.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. TJ.
Okay, let me add to what every other person has said. To me, it is a man's job to respect a woman. Okay? But it's the woman's job to give him something to respect.
Oh, okay. So it is the man's job to respect a woman, but it is the woman's job to give him something to respect. What do you mean by giving him something to respect? Can you please elaborate, sir?
Let's start from she needs to encourage and support her husband.
Okay. Encourage and support. Okay.
Yeah, she needs to encourage and support her husband. She should not use the opportunity to play with the man's sexualities and senses. There are times when the women become so manipulative. They are built that way by nature.
Okay.
You understand? So you shouldn't use that because of the way you'll be created. If you see Adam fell because of Eve manipulation. That was where the whole thing about disrespectful came in. So you shouldn't use that which God has given you to manipulate his emotions. And secondly, you need to share up your man.
Okay. So be encouragement.
Yeah, you need to be. You need to share him up. Okay. The other thing you need to do again, you know, when you share up a man, you are breathing life into his soul.
Okay.
No matter what he does, just tell him he has done well. Even if he needs to do better, but let him know that what he has done completely, he has done something great.
Great.
Do that to a man, you are already uplifting his soul. He wants on his own to do more.
Because you are giving him praise.
Yes.
Just
Then,
like Dave was saying, that
yeah,
he comes back
yeah,
when he's been treated or
yeah,
mistreated at work. He wants to come back to loving arms. He wants to come
yeah,
back to someone that respects him and treats him
yeah,
like a king, basically.
yeah.
Okay.
And secondly, as a woman, it is also good you respect yourself. You shouldn't feel insecure. Because one of those things that causes this disrespectfulness is when you feel insecure.
Okay.
When you feel insecure, then you now have, because most women are extremely insecure in their marriage. So they now turn it back on their man.
Transferred aggression.
Yes. Instead of them to try to build up their self, to remove that their self from that low self-esteem. You see them now going back to the man, and if everything you do is done, he doesn't want to see or do more about it. So I think I'll leave it here for now because of our time.
Yes, our time is fast spent, but I'm going to ask this one more question before we go back to the All Couples Forum. Let's talk about emotions. Why do men find it hard, or a lot of men, don't let me generalize, most men find it hard to show emotions? What tips would you like to share with women that might be finding it difficult to understand why their spouse does not show them emotions?
Start from me? Okay, Dave. Dave, you can continue.
I'll start. So I do want to give a little bit of pushback on the idea that men don't like to share their emotions. I think oftentimes men don't know how to share their emotions. Oftentimes don't know. Oftentimes, as from boys to young men, we're conditioned not to share our emotions unless it's in a place that's allowed. For example, on a football field, you can show emotions there, but in terms of relationships, how do you do that? And oftentimes, by the time you get to a relationship with a woman, you don't have the tools to effectively communicate what you're going through. But I will also say this: men naturally are fixers. And so if you present something to a man that he doesn't think is broken, he's not going to find a need to fix it. And so if you want to try to help your husband to see that you need him to communicate more, you need to show him how it's broken. Show him how when you don't open up to me in this way, it is impacting me in these areas. Because generally a good man, if he feels like his wife is hurt or hurting, he wants to be her hero. And so you need to show him, I don't just want you to talk. I want you to talk because when you don't, it does this to me. And if you start with that approach and show him how he can fix the situation, I think he'll step up.
I love that. Show him how to fix the situation. And if you remember that brain video we watched, men's brain are wired to fix things. They just want to fix it. You tell them about a problem. They might not talk much about it, but they are ready to fix it. Thank you very much, Dave. Pastor Victor.
Yeah, just looking at that video we watched, I think that video is fantastic. It's just wonderful because it really shows us the way, the man's brain is wired. And, the man's brain, the way the men are, we are not that, emotional. We're not that expressive. So that's just who we are. It's not, we're not trying to be hard or harsh sometimes. I know some men maybe, but then basically most men are just, like that. They are not expressive. But that's the beautiful thing about marriage, that you will help your spouse in your own area of strength, while your spouse will help you in his own area of strength. Women are more expressive, they show emotions more. So that means you can take the lead in that aspect of the marriage. You can actually train your husband, your spouse, how to show emotions. My wife taught me how to show emotions. We'll be in church. As a pastor, I'll sit in the front. My wife will come and give me a peck. My church is so spiritual. Why are you doing this?
I don't blame her.
At first, it was like, this woman wants to do. I don't know. But over time, she kept at it. You know, we'll be walking, she will hold my hands. I want to remove that hand, you know, in public. Leave me alone, you know. But over time, I started getting used to it. She would just tell me, look, I mean, she will explain to me, you know, the importance. She likes it. She wants to, you know, be hugged in public and all that. And you know, if you go to my, I shared it on Facebook that my wife even introduced me to Facebook. I wasn't a Facebook person, you know. She posts so much more than I do. She's everywhere. She speaks everywhere. So, but over time, I realized that, look, I need to, you know, be more expressive. You know, so we'll go to public places in our town before we moved, you know, this city or town before we moved to Canada. That place, you know, not so many married people express their emotions in public. But we will go to where students are, young people, and we will hold our hands as if we just got married yesterday. And she will lie on my chest, and everybody will just be looking at us. You know, of course, the students will do their thing, but people will be like, "Are these people young people or something?" They couldn't really figure it out. But then she was, you know, teaching me all those things, and I was enjoying it. And over time, I got used to it. I'm very expressive now. Now she tells me I speak more than her. I said, "No, you still speak more. I don't speak more." But I've
That
learned
is awesome.
each other that we're really rubbed on each other, and you know, we're better for it.
Awesome. So you can teach each other how to show emotions, and if you have a spouse that is not so showy, you can go ahead and suggest it, and hopefully the spouse can meet you in the middle. Thank you, sir. Mr. TJ.
I'll add to that. If you see, I've been married now. I've known my wife for over 30 years. Not that we don't show emotions. The issue is that we care for our wife a lot. But as men, we are always defended against putting our vulnerabilities. So that's why you see us not doing anything. Even if, I don't know, the thing is echoing. I don't know if you are getting me.
We can hear you properly. We can hear you well.
Yeah. So even if we try to do everything possible to hide our feelings, but in actual fact, that is how we show our feelings. You know, that is how we show our feelings.
We're trying to get into the men's brain.
Yes, we are just being careful in doing things that will make others think, oh, this man, they finish. So that's the thing. So they should know. Not that we don't show emotion, we show. But keeping our feelings and pretending over it is the way we show our feelings. If you know your husband, you will now understand that is how he shows his feelings.
Awesome. So you show your feelings by pretending not to show your feelings. Okay, we get you. Some comments.
Because you are defending yourself.
You're defending yourself. I get that part. I'm going to read some comments from Olayemi Akiloton. She says, show your man how to fix the situation. They are mostly the fixer, but you have to show them what needs to be fixed. Great idea. I love it. Dayo Aroye says, make yourself that woman that I can easily come home to when all chips are down, knowing that I will find strength in your arms and words. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Yes. Dorothy says, respect his judgment, respect his capability. How you speak to him before people really matters. Oluwatosin says, the society should allow men enjoy true love from their wife. Don't see them as weak when they are showing love to their wives. Awesome. We're going to go on a short break now. And when we come back, we're going to have our All Couples Forum, whereby we'll answer all of your questions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, your sister, your friend, your daughter, your granddaughter, your niece, Mercy Ferreira. You are welcome to this awesome event. It's the season of love. Let's just join together. Join me as I sing the song, One Love. Like never before, the world needs the love of God. We need that love. We need something that brings us together. And I think there's nothing better than love that brings us together. Let's sing One Love. Amen. One love, one love, one love will bring us together. Singing, yeah. What about the one love? One love is all we need. Yeah, yeah. What about the one? Saying it thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let them all pass till there. Dirty remarks. There is one question I'd really love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinner who has hurt all mankind just to save his own singing? Oh, what about the one, Lord? Hey, what about us? As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Oh, 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 yeah. And I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Listen, let's join together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Yeah. Pity on those whose chances grow thinner. There is no hiding place from the Father of creation. Singing no, singing oh, singing. Let's get together and as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. All right, feel all right, singing. Let's get together. Let's get together. Let's get together and feel all right. It's the season of love. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Let's get together and feel all right. One love, people. One love, one love. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Reawakened Love. My name is Seun Akinlotan. I'm the moderator and the host for today. You've been enjoying this program. You've logged in. You've learned one thing or the other. It's been amazing. And thank you so much for participating in our challenge. The couple that won the challenge for the selfie challenge is the billionaire Esther. I think I know who you are. So you're going to get the sweatshirt from Get 3113. We'll reach out to you on how to make that happen. And the second person, the second winner for today is Rhoda Gabriels. The question was, what month and year did I get married? She got it right. She put it right there in the comment box. We'll get back to you on how you can get your gift. Thank you everyone for participating. Now we've reached the end of the event for today, and we're going to end it with an all couples forum. We're going to have all our couples, and we're going to answer every question that you've put out in the comment box. And can we have our couples, please? Welcome, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's an amazing time with you all. So I'm going to go right in because we are way past our time, but I want us to answer these questions. The first question is, how do women handle their husbands having friends like that? They chat and all, and husband keeps saying it's no big deal. So she's asking if we have the husband that has a friend of the opposite sex, they chat all the time. Maybe they are even laughing, or the husband is giggling, and the other spouse is like, what are you laughing about? Can I be led into this conversation? So how should a woman handle that? That question is from Titi Izwagi. Dave and Jasmine, you can go first.
I think for me, how I handle that, because I think we have been put in a situation because Dave has childhood friends who are women. And one thing for us when we got married was making sure we set a clear boundary on what it meant to have friends of the opposite sex, like what I expected from him still, and what type of interaction is appropriate and not appropriate. And also, one, there's no like, I can't see your phone. I mean, we both have access to anything that each other has. I know the passwords to all his stuff, and same vice versa. So I I know that if I ask something or I want to see something, there's no hiding anything. It's open. And the third thing, I forgot. But yeah, I forgot.
It's okay. Pastor Victor?
Yeah, I think I want my wife to answer that question. Because as a pastor, I talk to a lot of ladies. You lead the men and the women and the children and the old and the young.
Yeah.
And so you have, a lot of people in your ministry, a lot of ladies in your church that you have to be their friend.
Okay.
I mean, in fact, be their friend, be their mentor, be their pastor, and all that. So I just want to know the women's perspective on some of these things.
I think it has to do with a lot of things. It has to do with the trust.
Jasmine, I'll come back.
Yeah, it has to do with the trust that is within the couple and the level of openness they have. I think for us, what happens is that whenever my husband has a female friend, I'm always included in the friendship. The first thing he wants to do, he wants me to meet the person. He really does, I think back in Nigeria, there used to be a lot of deliverance sessions and things like that. Whenever he's praying for ladies, I'm always there. Even if I'm not laying hands directly, but I'm always in that circle because people can be funny. They can start removing their clothes and, doing all sorts, if you know what I mean. So for me, I don't really see it as a threat because I notice that it brings me in. But where it becomes a stress is when you are keeping a friend and I don't know the person. I don't know anything. I'm out of your life, then you are talking to somebody, you're always spending time with the person, of course there will be an alarm. I would not like it, and I always advise people, tell the person, don't attack your spouse, don't attack them and say you are sleeping around. Words like that, you have to be careful. It doesn't mean they might not even be sleeping with that person. You are giving them suggestions.
You're giving them ideas.
Accusing them of what they have not done. Let me do it so that the accusation, so that the accusation is justified. So you don't need to do that. But I think what I tell people is that let them know how you feel. Let them know how their action makes you feel. That, when you do this, I feel jealous. When you do this, I feel sad because I love you. And you are the best thing that ever happened to me. I want to be your number one. I want to, you are trying to make the person see why you are acting it out. So I think it's just to be open. For me, when I feel my husband is getting close to somebody, I might just say jokingly, I'll be like, it's like if this person has not called you in a day, it is not okay. So the next day, my husband will not call the person like that. My wife have said you call, it is every day. I'll be like, she called yesterday and she called today again. So whenever maybe the next day now calls my husband will tell me to pick the phone. That tell the person I'm busy. I mean, to be like, he's doing something. How are you doing? And things like that. This is what I am calling every day. So a woman will naturally get jealous, but I think the honest light of you not to overblow things.
Okay.
When you have not caught somebody red-handed, don't assume. Don't say, do you people? Don't even tell the person you love the person more than, because there is power in our words. When you speak things out, you are enforcing that thing. There's never been a time I don't do that jokes with even when I joke and I say things like, you are so close to bed, I will never say it to the level that maybe something is between you. But I don't even want to speak it out. because I don't want it to, because speaking it out gives it power. So what I just do, I let you know that this thing you're doing, this is the way I feel about it. I don't like it because I love you. You are special to me. I feel you are spending too much time
with this
person, and your spending time is not the thing that will give you solution in this matter. You can spend so much time with the person and you still don't get an headway. So it's not about spending time, it's about, okay, the person has a problem, needs a solution. What is the solution? I'm so straightforward about that, but my husband, we want to be friends. Okay, let's talk first, let's talk for hours, and later, we have our styles of ministry. But the idea is that if I feel threatened, I speak out. But most of the time, in many cases, most of those people are my friends. When my husband talks to them, I speak to my wife too. He always includes me. So for me, I don't really see much of that. But I just tell people, don't be too angry. Oh, you're always doing that. You are this. No, you don't have to be. Just let me know that what you are doing is making me feel this way. So
I don't think I have a friend that is, a friend that she doesn't, know, or that is not our own friend as well.
Okay.
I think that's the basic thing.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir and ma. I'm going to go to Mrs. Bridget, then I'll go back to Jasmine, and then we'll round up.
Okay, based on the question that the lady asked, he said that they are chatting.
Yes.
That you understand. I'm going to answer that question. In that particular situation now, is a fact that there is a bond between both of them. So at this particular moment now, he knows that you are jealous, he knows you are aware, and he's still doing it. Then you use your prayer to scatter them, because there's no words you can use to separate them. And the other lady that is chatting at odd hours knows what he wants to get at you. But your husband is the one that does not know that is being played upon as a toy. He's sending message because he knows you are beside your husband. For her to have that God to be chatting at odd hours. So you don't need to go ahead to call the lady, or to your husband has already know that you are aware, you are not happy with it, then prayer out of the line. That's just the only way. You don't need to confront, you don't need speak the word. The communication will not work again. That is my advice.
Thank you so much, ma. Speak the word prayer, communication. Jasmine.
I just wanted to add, I like everything that was said, but I remember my third point, and that was that when it came to this situation, one thing was that it was always, or Dave always expressed the idea that I'm always obviously the most important person. So if at any time I express that, okay, I'm not comfortable with this anymore and I don't want you to do this, then the friendship is off. Like, it's not, like, there's no competition in that area. So that's another thing that made me feel more secure.
Wow. It's been an amazing time today. Our time is fast spent, but it was worth it. So we have one more gift for our audience, and I want to pick a winner by answering this question. What is one word you will use to describe the Reawakened Love? Go ahead and put that in the comment box, and then I'll pick the answer that stands out to me the most. You're going to win air fresheners from Feminix Soap. And also, I would like to say that this program was brought to you free by the Power Woman Experience Ministry. We organize programs every year. One of our big programs that we organize is the Power Woman Experience, and it's coming up in August 2021. So the registration link is out. You can start registering. We'll put out more information about that. We also organize Take Charge December for planning New Year. As children of God, as Christians, or whatever religion we practice, it is important that we plan out our year. That takes place in December. We are also planning a youth event this year, and not put out the date, but we'll communicate that soon. So I want you to go ahead and just describe what this event has been to you, and then you'll be the winner of Feminix Air Fresheners. And while we are waiting for that, one word from, let me say, Dave.
One
To
word.
round up. One word to round up. In 10 seconds, what else would you like to say?
This is a process. I think we all have given a lot of great advice, but if we're being honest, we're still working through some of these things. No one has ever arrived. You're always growing. You're always learning.
Yes. Thank you so much. You're always growing. You're always learning. Pastor Victor.
I just want to leave us with this statement that the only thing we never get enough of is love. And the only thing we never give enough of is love.
Wow. The only thing we never get enough of is love. And the only thing we never give enough of is love. Thank you, sir. Mr. TJ.
I would just like to remind everyone, especially the audience and ourselves, that marriage is that thing that never ends. You keep learning. It's a school that you entered with a certificate up front. So you need to work to keep that certificate alive.
Yeah. Wow. It's a school you enter with a certificate up front, and you need to work hard to keep that certificate alive. And I'm going to pick a winner for the air freshener. Can we have the air freshener up? The air freshener from Feminix Soap. And the winner is Evelyn Anioke. She says it's explosive. I love that word, explosive. And some other people say it's reawakening. Someone said reviving. Someone said phenomenal. Someone said that's awesome. Reawakened Love show today is Truth to Love. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be your host and your moderator. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I want to give a very big shout out to all our volunteers. We had amazing volunteers. We called, we answered, they gave selflessly. If you like to donate to the ministry, please donate. You can send us a message. You can point your phone towards the screen. Donations, any amount that you donate to us is fine. Most of the things we do, they are free, and we just want to bless life. We want to make an impact, and we pray that our homes will be heaven on earth, and that our lives will be shining light to others, to draw others unto Christ. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you all. And until next time, I would say be exceptional, be intentional, and be on point. Have a happy Valentine tomorrow. Bye-bye.
We started already.
Bye. Just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. Hey, the only one I ever see with a smile so bright. Hey, and just yesterday, you came around my way. You changed my whole scenery with your astonishing beauty. You couldn't make a brother sing, no ordinary thing, a supernatural thing. And no, you're brighter than the moon, brighter than the star. I love you just the way you are. Girl, you are my African queen. I say you are the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been. You make my heart go ding-a-ling-a-ling. Hey, you are my African queen. Say you are the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, girl. And that is the African beauty. Yeah, yeah, I saw this story go. So this story go. Ooh, 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 ooh. See, out of a million, you stand as one, we are standing one. I look into your eyes, and what I see is paradise. You captivate